Hello. Ngozi Fulani rides again. Racism is rife in Peckham and the media. And 88 big retail businesses beg for a law prohibiting shoplifting. So, let's start with Ngozi Fulani. Some of you might not know who she is. Therefore, I'll start by explaining that Marlene Headley adopted a fake African name and founded a charity called Sister Space, which I believe is currently under investigation for fraud. In 2022, she attended a reception hosted by Queen Camilla at Buckingham Palace in this outfit. When asked by one of the meeters and greeters, Lady Susan Hussey, where she was from, she said Africa. And only under closer questioning did it come out that her parents were actually from the West Indies and she herself had been born in the exotic environs of the London borough of Hackney. Taking offence at being found out that she was in fact not an African princess, nor even an African, Miss Headley made a Twitter storm of it and accused Lady Hussey of racism. By the way, her charity was supposed to give shelter to abused women, but nobody has found any of the women that she was supposed to have sheltered, while one woman did step forward, telling everyone she requested help from Sister Space and says she was turned away because she wasn't black enough. Right, that's Headley dealt with. And I'm Granniopteryx, interrupting myself to remind you that I'm Granniopteryx. I'm on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute and Minds. All the links are in the description, including links to donation sites if you want to use them. They're very nice and I appreciate any donation. But if you want to help my channel and it won't cost you a bean, just click that like. That'll help the distribution of the video and it'll help the reach of my channel, which is very gratifying. Okay, that's it. Back to Clown World. Now let's get on with this charmer. I'll turn the sound down. Having been refused a return on an item, she started quite openly to stuff her bag with items from the shop, and then she tried to walk out. You can see the shopkeeper's just blocking her way until she attacked him. Then he restrained her, mostly by, grabbing her arms. And these are the headlines that report the story. Just a minute. Let's have a little bit longer look at this before I bring the headline. So you see how the shopkeeper is restraining her, how she's continuing to fight and attack. She is, by the way, calling for the police at this time. Talk about entitlement. Okay, and this is the crowd that gathered after the incident. All right, and let's just have a look at the headlines that followed that incident. Huge protests erupt in Peckham after video shows shopkeeper was filmed manhandling a woman. Okay, the Telegraph. Footage of shop owner choking woman he accused of shoplifting. This is the Guardian. Black woman grabbed by throat during incident. Did you see him grabbing her by the throat? Daily Mail, shopkeeper who was filmed strangling a woman. And the Mirror, Peckham protest, witness to woman being strangled. And Sky News just says, a man interviewed by police after video of confrontation. That's the most reasonable headline of the lot. But look at the Telegraph. You'd have expected better than that. Footage of shop owner choking woman. Et tu, Telegraph. And, of course, The Guardian. of course, the Guardian would say black woman grabbed by the throat. Do you notice a pattern here? They're all implying the same thing. But of course, the most telling headline is that one in The Guardian, naturally, black woman. Immediately, the victimhood narrative. But it's not only the MSM backing up that narrative. I mentioned Marlene Headley before, didn't I? Well, she hasn't gone away. Step forward, sister space. This was an Instagram post of the subsequent demonstration outside the shop, and it just served to whip up more fury, and it was Instagrammed out by Sister Space, obviously to swell the crowd, because apparently that crowd and Sister Space all think it's perfectly okay for a black woman to go shoplifting. Well, at least to go shoplifting in an establishment owned by a family of Asians. What's that, you say? Black people? Racists? How is that possible? Let's just hear from one of them. This gentleman here is called Stace Lewis. And after calling for a boycott, this is what he says. So it says, Stace Lewis, activist, speaks about the planned protest taking place outside of Peckham Hair and Cosmetics from 2 p.m. today. Now, this is what he says. Activist Stace Lewis posted footage on social media urging people to boycott the store and to assemble outside. We hit them in the pocket. That's the only language they understand, he said. Well, that can't be racism against Asians, surely. Oh, and just as a matter of interest, here's the icing on the cake. Let's go back to this crowd here. You see behind them, that shop, it says closing down there. They're all shouting, shut it down, by the way. And behind them, this shop says it's closing down. And if you look at this photo of Mr. Holmes Lewis, just look what's behind him here. Another closed shop. So these guys here, these activists, might not have the activism to open their own shops, but they appear to be a whiz at shutting them down. Am I saying that all Afro-Caribbeans are shoplifters? Of course not. But what I am saying is that when you have a subgroup of people who live feckless lives and then get jealous of hard workers who make a success of themselves, and who are being told by the media and the establishment that they're underprivileged, not because they're disorganised, but because of their skin colour, of course they're going to steal, because they've convinced themselves that those people, they who understand only the language of the pocket, are taking advantage of them. So why shouldn't they steal something back? I get it about the feckless underclass and their social justice warrior supporters. But what I don't understand is the role of the media in this. Perhaps someone can explain it to me, because I honestly don't understand those headlines at all. As for the law about shoplifting, which I referred to before, this was in the Telegraph, toughen the law on shop staff abuse, urge business leaders. They want to make it a serious crime to abuse or assault retail workers who ask for ID or try to stop shoplifters. Helen Dickinson, chief executive of the British Retail Consortium, said, "We are seeing organised gangs threatening staff with weapons and emptying stores." So, you see, shoplifting is a problem, and this letter begs the government for a law to make shoplifting a crime and a law to make it a crime to abuse and assault shopkeepers and assistants. Oh, they seem to have forgotten that we already have many laws against stealing and certainly against assault. Mind you, I suppose the shopkeepers could be excused for forgetting, considering that the police have forgotten that too. They have much more important crimes to pursue, don't they? So I have some advice for all these shopkeepers. Now, that shoplifter in Peckham, if she'd made a Facebook post saying that her 6'3", 20-stone ex-boxer neighbour wears a skirt and lipstick, but she thinks probably he isn't really a woman, well, the police would have been round her place with the handcuffs faster than you could say false eyelashes. And that entire crowd would have been outside her door waving rainbow flags and shrieking transphobe until she'd been dragged off to the re-education centre, wherever that is. So my advice to the shopkeepers is this: instead of detaining somebody and then calling the police that they've caught a shoplifter, all they have to do is ring the police and say that woman was saying that men can't be women. They'll be round there, lights flashing, waving their batons. Well, as I said, faster than you could say, follow the science. Till next time. Why not treat yourself or a favoured relative or friend to these magnificent examples of merch? The mugs and t-shirts come in the granniopteryx design or Granbo with a firearm or the more deadly knitting needles. Go to www.granniopteryx.com and whatever platform you're watching this on, please click like, subscribe and share, share, share.